Yeah, it was really weird. It didn't smell funny, but it tasted funny. I don't know. But yeah, I had to wash my hands right after that.
It tasted funny.
Wash your hands first. Probably where the bad flavor came from.
Nah, man, flavor saver.
Yeah,
By the way,
when
I
you
wanna
make
know, what vape flavor does rainbow taste like? I'm tired of fucking seeing the rainbow vape flavor and like what is it? What you can't taste the rainbow, like Skittles already has that, dude. Like what is it? What is a rainbow vape? What does
it tastes like Skittles.
No, I didn't. It tasted weird. I tried it.
With that, welcome to the Amigos Co Monday/Tuesday in your face hole here on the YouTubes. Welcome, Steve, Mr. Legion Vapes from New South Wales, and the Rainbow Vapor himself, Vandelicious from Las Vegas. Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah, Rainbow e-liquid.
So like I was at work and I saw like some people buying like these devices and stuff that were the pre-fills or whatever, and they're on our shelf, and I'm just like, I see all these vape companies always use the rainbow name for the flavor, and I get it, like if it's like a fruit punch or something, maybe like you want to mix it all up, okay, but like it's tired, it's played out, and I've seen like it's like rainbow unicorn diarrhea that came out like 2 years ago or whatever. What the fuck does rainbow taste like? And it's like, I'm not even trying to make like a gay joke or anything like that. Like, what the fuck does a rainbow taste like? Does it taste like a pot of gold, or does it actually taste like nickels?
It tastes
or
like
is it actually the gold wrapped candy chocolates? I don't know. Why'd you let me have them before?
It tastes like unicorns.
There's a word.
What does unicorn taste like?
When the show is done, there's a word you want to look up: Santorum. Look up the word Santorum. Look up the definition, and that's exactly what a rainbow tastes like.
Santorum.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
We'd like to welcome you all in chat. I'm going to go through, I think there's only a few people here. Omisado Maniac was first, and Adam K was second, followed closely by Billy Ancillo. I hope I'm saying that right, or Ancillo, I'm not sure. Ancillo and Tigets. That's kind of everyone. Erwin's here, Sean's here, Robert the Great Wombatsky is here, Dan J. My microphone is louder than the rest. I can fix that. I will fix that. There we go. How about that? Mowgli is here. Rainbow tastes like the back window sticker on a Volvo, slightly covered in a little bit of dust as well. A little bit of grit for your teeth.
The worst part is I'm inclined to believe Mowgli. Have you seen pictures of his life? He lives a wild life.
Mowgli? He's
well, he looks like he looks like he's seen some shit.
I'm sure he would probably vouch for that. We want to welcome you all to the chat. Thank you for hanging out.
I was just saying that I got off a Zoom call. I had to go back to my former industry situation, and I felt so out of the loop. I felt like that idiot should have just been on mute the entire time. So I'm a little bit out of sorts. Yeah. It's funny when you devote an awful lot of your life to something, and then you step away from it for a while, and then you go back to it, and quite often it's like riding a bike, but then other times it's like, hey, hey.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm
It's
still
amazing
relevant.
how fast you can lose touch with stuff that moves. And you would think certain industries, you'd think they don't move that fast, like kitchen work. It's cooking. We've been cooking for thousands of years. No, man. Shit changes really freaking fast.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I quickly changed my shirt out of my business attire, and I'm back to straight up in your face hole. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
He did it in the pre-room too, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
He did it, and he sat on that couch behind him. I'm sorry. I gotta stop talking.
I was lounging. I was like, hey, hey.
Yeah.
Fellas, we will do it. Let's do it. It's that time. It's time for the vape buff A. Tell us what you're vaping, Mr. Vandal. Tell us.
Well, I do have my Aegis, and I have my goat on top of it, and I'm back on Anarchist Pink heavily. And yeah, as you can see, I have to write all these B's on it so I don't mix it up at work and accidentally send it to a customer. So there's that. And then inside my Caliburn, I have some Homeboy Mingo. And that's all I got. I'm actually coming back on the salt nicks because I felt like I had pneumonia for like 6 months.
Took you 6 months to realize it was the salt nicks?
Well, it's real windy out here. You never know. It could be allergies. But it's mostly allergies. But yeah, that's all I got. What do you got, Steve?
May as well jump in myself, and my lineup today is pretty small. Still rocking the Vigo 80, little pod side-by-side setup with, what the hell do I have in there? Oh yeah, Dizzy Tropics Malibu. This is the one I said on Sunday. Tastes like sunscreen. Yeah, I am still vaping it. It still tastes like sunscreen. I still kind of like it. I keep vaping it. I must like it, but it's not bad. It's tangerine, grenadine, and banana. So it's a nice light vape.
Grenadine, did you say?
Grenadine. That's
Interesting.
Yeah. Tangerine, grenadine, twist of banana, a little bit of crushed ice. It's supposed to be I guess a light and fruity beverage for a hot day, but sunscreen. Just tastes like sunscreen. Still, of course, rocking my Purge X and my Odin combo. A little disappointed. You guys know the story. My original Odin got sent back for repair. I lost contact with DovePo. That was a long time ago. I'm ever getting it back now. I'm not worried about it. But since that, I've been using, of course, my Odin 200 non-stop. It's always here. And my buttons are flaking. I just noticed it. Just noticed this just during the last show. It's like it's flaking off. It's you can see that where it's white there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just the coating is flaking off. A little disappointing. I wanted to keep this one nice for a while, but you can't keep anything nice in the vape world and actually use it. You've got a choice. Keep it nice, keep it behind glass, or actually use it. And yes, it's going to get dented, scratched, chipped, and whatever. But Purge X on there. Anarchist Pink, of course. Big, airy, cloudy. Rockin' breeze tones because my coil building skills are shite. And breeze tones, yeah, they perform every single time. Last but not least, my kind of semi-old school setup. It's not really old school, but pulled a few older items off the shelf this week because bit light on the review stuff. Felt like pulling out something that I genuinely just wanted to vape something that I enjoyed, not something that I had to do for reviews. The College from DovePo, the Aromizer Light on top of there, single coil. This has got one single solitary Mystic Coils alien in there, and it is Yummy Vapor Taruto because that's a really nice juice, but with a slightly restricted direct lung, it just really shines. This is what I've been taking with me. Had a doctor's appointment this morning. Had to go out and have my foot felt, my toes sucked, and yeah, this is what I took with me. Yeah, you know when you go to those weird specialist doctors, I always have this. Specialist doctors that suck your toes. No, I have this weird feeling. It's like you don't become a gynecologist unless you're really into vaginas, right? So you don't become a podiatrist unless you're really into feet. So I kind of have this I need to see one, but I don't really trust you. I think you've got a bit of a foot fetish. I'm just going to stay up here while you do your stuff. Luckily, my head is far enough away from my feet that I can just... I'm rambling. I'm babbling. I'm talking shit.
I don't even know where to go from there. That's you said
know where I was
vaginas, feet, heads, sucking toes, a doctor.
I love Steve stealing all my lines.
You have to figure. You don't become a coroner unless you're really into dead people or you don't like living people, right? Does that just make sense?
Maybe
you
interested.
like people, but you don't like them talking to you. I love people, but I hate when they talk to me. But I wouldn't want to be like a fucking mortician or anything like that though.
See,
I'm rambling on your rambling. My bad.
You wouldn't become a coroner or a mortician unless you really had an affinity with corpses. You wouldn't become a gynecologist unless you really liked looking at vaginas all day long.
But the thing is when you look at never mind. That's a conversation for a different time. So is that the end of your
well, here's the question: how many gay gynecologists are there?
You need to stop. This statement is not endorsed by the panel.
Last time I visited a gynecologist was never.
I think we need to poll the industry to find out.
You know what? Someone get out there, start flapping some meat out, and seeing what comes back. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry, Adam.
long story short, I actually do have a condition on my right foot, and I have a bunch of exercises. No surgery, no medicine necessary, and I just got to do a bunch of exercises on my foot to loosen it up because apparently it's really, really tight down there.
It's interesting. Yeah. Steve, are you falling apart, man? Is that what's going on? Are you falling apart, Steve?
Literally, this last 6 months, all the issues have been like coming to the fore. And this has been the last one that I've had to deal with. I've been putting it off. So yeah, there's a muscle along the bottom of your foot. There's a muscle section, I guess it's called plantar, and plantar fasciitis, or as we call it in the house, fascius plants, is where that muscle band tightens up and doesn't want to move. So you don't have the flexibility in your arch, and you can't stand properly, you can't walk properly, and you have a bunch of pain. So that's the issue that I've got down there. So yeah, like I said, no surgery required, no medicine, just a shit ton of every 2 days. I got to do a whole bunch of exercises, and I've got one of those little balls to roll my feet on when I'm sitting here at the desk. So if you see me sitting doing this, there's something exciting happening down there.
All right, interesting. Is there some construction going on in someone's house? Just
there is. My apologies. The house right next door to us, she moved out about 4 months ago, and the construction has been increasing daily.
Yep.
And yeah, they are tearing wall. I don't know what they're doing there.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's loud.
It's surprising. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in chat. Everyone's putting in what they're vapping on, and I did the hawk sauce there by Mowgli is cool berries. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
I also want to throw something out there real fast before we get into like the buffets for the chat. If anyone can record Steve talking with the banging sound and then remix it with auto tune and make it sound like one of those shows where they have the trash cans, I will pay you $100.
$100 dues. You've heard it. You heard it there.
But American, not if you live in like Europe, because your money's worth more. Anyways.
My boring vape buffet is I pulled out the black version, Denali 20X 700 Snowcap mods, Nightmare 25 on there, and I've got a little bit of this is not the bottle that it came in. That's the Sabores del Encanto from Mr. Fogging Out with the Batman, the pineapple upside down rum cake. I think that's the profile. I do have a little mouth to lung action going on with the Onigin R from Madbeard Mods, K-Fun 2019 on there, and that one has, can't remember, it's some mouth to lung liquid. The Abyss and the Ether in restricted direct lung mode, that's banging. That one has in there crispy Rice Krispie action from Affinity Creations. I'm still on that. Also from Affinity Creations in this tank is the Cronuts in the bill box with the linked, can't get it, there you go, the linked bill box. Yeah, with some panels from Alinea. That's coming out very soon. A little bit of sneak peek action there with a little bit of the inners going on there. A little bit of accessories for the billet. What else have I got? I do have a Caliburn G. I just set that up again, refilled with a new coil. So I'll probably take a little bit of that because adults like nicotine. And that's it. Fair bit going on.
Is that the original Caliburn? Because it looks different. It's obviously different than this one.
No, yeah. Well, yours is the original. This is the Caliburn G. Yeah, that's the G unit.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
Ribbed for her pleasure. That's right. Yeah, but I'd treat this like absolute trash. This is the one that goes in my pocket, and I thrash that one. But the finish is holding up really, really well. The anodizing and all that sort of blah blah is really good. But this is my out and about walker, the walker, so to speak. Yeah. I just don't take my big chunky devices out in public. Not that I go out much anymore, but I don't know. It's very rare that I'm cloudsing out in public. I don't know why. Just don't. Yeah, interesting.
I've stepped back on using my main device outside the house or outside of the work office, because like it just comes in handy. And like, don't get me wrong, I love the flavor of it, but just the ease of just putting something like this in your pocket and pulling it out easily enough without it getting in the way,
100%. Yeah, I'm.
And all my pants now have stains though because of the fucking the mouthpiece. I've been dripping, so I always over drip. So now every pair of pants I have has a little like fucking VG stain right by where it looks like you would like pee your pants if you didn't like shake it enough. So yeah, that's my overshare for the night.
Yeah, you cover up, you make excuses, tell us whatever you want. We know the truth.
Where's my R. Kelly sound clip now?
Whenever I'm working at the desk, obviously your crutch is right there, and quite often when I'm re-wicking, I'll get a drop or something will fall into my lap, and it falls right in the perfect spot. And VG takes 1 or 2 washes to come out because it always looks like I have stains around a certain area. It's very inappropriate, very embarrassing at the same time. I assure you, it's
what I do, and just sit here naked.
Sit here naked.
He's got that straight nicotine to skin reaction.
Yeah. It's the newsreader.
Tingly, a little bit spiky, a little bit spicy. I kind of like it. Besides, it keeps your pubes nice and moist and conditioned.
So you're saying all these these beard products are just snake oils, and you should be using VG and PG.
Yeah. Just a little bit of M-Turk. Rub it in, brush it through. Why not?
Just as long as it's not rainbow flavor, we're good.
I have to say, I am surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that no e-liquid company has gone that way. Like, well, we make the M-Turk liquids. Why don't we make an M-Turk beard oil? Same scent, same smell, just in a beard oil formulation. Not saying with nicotine, but wouldn't you prefer your beards to smell? What would you rather, sandalwood, or Turkish maize?
Bold of you to assume I put anything on this. Look at that's why I never turned sideways. Come on, man. It looks like I need to get my face waxed. No, but that would be pretty smart if you like some of those flavors. But honestly, would you want to walk around all day smelling like a strawberry cupcake, though?
Don't we always? Anyway.
If you vape at strawberry cupcakes, it's not 2013 anymore. There's more flavors.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I got some new flavors coming in a couple of weeks, things that I've never tried. I'm very excited. I decided to make use of the smacks situation. I've got some smacks coming. I'm kind of really excited. Everyone's been talking about it for years, and it's definitely been a showpiece in the industry. I'm kind of excited. Yeah.
I don't know what to wish. Do I want you to really like it? In which case you're going to get a little disappointed because they're closing down, or do I want you to be like underwhelmed and go, well, it doesn't really matter? And I say this facetiously just because, you're ordering for Smacks, but which is awesome, and they're one of those companies that have been on my list. Like, I really should try some pony on acid because I hear good things. But we again, I'm bringing up that negative topic, the one we've been talking about for weeks now. They are one more of that list. They which is sad. Yeah,
indeed. But I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm not going to look at it as anything but a consumer and just enjoy it for what it is. And
I will say that I've never tried it, but their labeling always freaked me out because it always looks like skincare pimple cream.
That's kind of why I like it. That's kind of why I've always loved their branding, is because it's just, unless you knew.
And it's very up to the point, and like not you know what I mean. It's very like solid on this is something that's not trying to be like crazy obtusely colored or anything like that. And I get that, but it definitely just reminds me of like I grew up in the United States, and then like when I was a kid, all they had on the commercial was those fucking Clearasil commercials, and it was the same exact bottle look and everything. So now all I think of is like people put that on. I know it's probably gross, and I shouldn't compare it to that. I'm not saying that's what it tastes like. I never tried it, but that's my rambling thought.
You actually made me think of something. A lot of people are accumulating, gear and liquids for the upcoming time. If people in chat, are you just buying what's available and will be shipped to you, or are you branching out and trying things you would never try before? I know it's not a very positive time to be asking a question like that, but I'm interested to see what people are buying. Whether they're venturing out or just buying what's available, because there's no doubt that I bought because I didn't want to miss out, and I wanted to try something, but I'm also excited to try something different as well. So If anyone's been doing that in chat, throw it in chat and tell us what you're waiting on. Yeah.
While we're waiting for that, I want to throw out something. Just a thought that's been in my mind for the last couple of weeks, mostly this past week, and it's kind of like it's the unspoken thing. It's the part of this whole situation that is not being recognized or realized, and part of it's short-sightedness. I think just not looking beyond your own borders. I want to make this clear. What's happening is shit, absolutely. And what's happening is affecting people's livelihoods and shutting down businesses that don't deserve to shut down. They deserve to exist and grow, but livelihoods, all that sort of thing. But I've been hearing people say that this is the end of vaping. Far from it. This is the end of many businesses in the United States. This is the end of easy access to vaping products in the United States. This is the end of people being able to quit easily or access their products easily or over the mail in the United States. There is a much wider world. There is products still out there. They're still going to get shipped. They're still going to get manufactured. Yes, I mean, you can name a ton of names and may they all rest in peace. Those brands are dying. But the other companies, the ones in China, the ones in Europe, the ones in the UK will continue. And as far as e-liquid, there will always be non-American made e-liquid that will exist. And I don't mean to be like, oh, you're sucked in, you can't get stuff, but we'll be fine. What I mean is maybe companies in the States won't be able to continue working. Maybe they will thin the herd, so to speak. But there will be some way. Eventually, there will be some way. If you live in Idaho, if you live in Wisconsin, if you live in Las Vegas, there will be some way to get some dinner lady to you. There will be some way to get some Chinese products to you. There'll be some way to get Frank and Atticus and some nicotine to you. Maybe not in the short run. We haven't figured it out yet, but eventually we will. This is not the end of vaping. This is just dark times within that continental United States for a period of time. We'll get through it, we'll get over it, and we'll find some other ways through. A lot of people are sky is falling kind of concept. It's the end of vaping and it's only going to be black market. Vaporesso are going nowhere. Vupu are going nowhere. Geek Vape and Dinner Lady and Frank and Atticus are completely unaffected by all of this. And all we need to figure out is how to get that product to American consumers.
I can only say one thing, and that is that it is not, Steve's absolutely right, it's going to very well thin the herd. And Cemetery Gates put it in the chat as well, because if you didn't know, he runs a shop, and he says shops are fine. It's going to be hard to get it to your household, but I will tell you this, there are moves being made right now with a handful of people that are making sure that when that day happens, there is going to be a seamless transition, and you may have to buy from companies that you don't like or something like that if you've never shopped from before or something like that, or discover someone new. But there are people working very hard right now, and as of now, all I can say is this is not the end for a few. That's all I'm saying.
And yeah, Cemetery Gates is making a few comments on Chinese products. Look, if you don't like Chinese products, that's fine. But there's, beyond that, there's what do you call it? UK made, UK manufactured mech mods and RDAs. There's European made high end, very, very beautiful RTAs. There are RDAs coming from Russia and the Philippines. I mean, there are products that will continue to be out there. This is, like I said, none of this is to say, whatever the States, let them go sort themselves out. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the technology and the concept will continue. It's one area that's going dark. The rest of the world continues full steam ahead, and it sort of maintains the concept. It doesn't die completely. We continue and we hold that banner until you guys can, get yourself sorted out and then rejoin us in that playing field.
Yeah,
I think that's what, yeah.
Yeah, and if the dark days are anything to draw inspiration from, I mean, Australia has had nowhere near the same ballpark as what's happening in the US, but we've had a few dark days even in the few years that I've been vaping, and there always seems to be some other little tangent that gets taken. The companies haven't closed down as much, apart from the operators, due to, I guess, state regulations. There's been a lot of movement there, but as far as the companies go, they're adapting, and we're still able to get products. So, you know, some small silver lining is that, you know, people will still do what they can, and yeah, we'll but that's inspiring news from Mr. Vandal.
I want to throw this out there real quick in the chat. Robert Riggins said it's good news for brick and mortars, only really not for consumers. Like I said, I can't really release a lot of details on things. Things are still being worked out, but it's not going to happen as bad as you think for retail customers. There are plans in place to where like it's just going to be maybe a little bit of a longer wait, but someone else delivering your products.
Indeed. Yep, Jeremy Clark there, a gentleman from NZ. I mean, they've gone through their trials and tribulations as well. They're still going through it, you know, but manufacturing, you know, happens a lot in NZ, particularly with e-liquids and all that sort of thing as well. So, you know, I mean, they can't ignore us. They cannot kill this industry. They're trying to, you know, it's too far down the rabbit hole. Vaping is here to stay. Stay positive. It's easy for me to say, but, you know, gotta be.
And even if they can't, sorry.
No.
Cut you off.
Yeah, I have no more to say about that. Yeah.
If you think that evangelical white Christian super America can never legalize weed, that's right around the corner. I promise you that this is going to have its heyday too, and it's going to turn around, especially with the effects of like, you know, American healthcare systems looking to be a little bit more healthy and stuff. Of course, will it be as good as the UK? Never. It'll never be that good. We're a capitalist country, you know, and stuff like that. We work off the dollars, but I don't think that this is going to be the end of it, and it's going to be rough for a little bit, and it's going to adapt. But what this has done is created the changes that the government has wanted to seek for regulation. This is the easiest way to regulate. You weed out all the people that can't be a part of it or they can't keep up out of it, and then now you have the few that stick around and they can go by, and then they make their own ways around it. They find their own way around your regulations, and they keep going. They created regulation without actually doing it. And this is how it's going to happen. And then when that becomes a, you know, a successful business model for some, and they're going to be able to do that, the tensions are going to ease up on it. And then the notice of like the actual effects on it, because you're only going to be getting these quality products, because these are the companies that submitted PTMAs. These are the companies that did the work to make sure that they can ensure the products get in your hand at the same quality level. This is going to be a flipping point for vaping, and you're going to stop seeing this bullshit watchdog, this bullshit watch stuff. You're going to stop seeing a lot of this fucking like, really colorful, stupid rainbow branding and all this stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with rainbow branding, but you get what I mean with how, like, you know, silly some of that stuff is. This is going to create regulation, as terrible as it is to go through it. And this is going to open it up to see where the real professionals stand in the industry. And it's going to open the door to create our industry to be more widely open and widely accepted and maintained by those that take the time and actually give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
That's my bet. That's my bet on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know where to go after that. That was said. That's absolutely. Sorry, Steve.
I was going to say, if you go back to like the mid '80s in the U.S., and we're talking about Congress having hearings to try and shut down or label music products across the board.
That's right.
Hate groups, banning, literally. I mean, I say hate groups; they were never classified as such, but trying to ban D&D. Like, you couldn't have kids playing a board game or a tabletop game. There were entire towns. You remember the movie Footloose? That was not a joke. That wasn't like sci-fi. There were actual towns that banned dancing, but a little further back, there were towns that you couldn't buy science fiction or fantasy because that's godless. You know, We were living in that world, and the idea that weed would 20 or 40 years now. Fuck, the 80s is a long time ago. Holy cow. 40 years later, and weed is like, it's like virtually completely legalized. We're like on the cusp of it. That was unthinkable. So the amount of progress that we made, this is kind of what I was saying, I think on Sunday. I was trying to get that idea across that things will get dark, things will go bad for a while, but we continue fighting, not just for ourselves, but for future generations, for future smokers or current smokers. It may take a while, but we will eventually get there.
Yep.
I mean, no one would even conceive of you know, the labeling, the PMRC, whatever it was, the thing that was trying to ban music, basically. No one would conceive of that this day. It's too far gone. We're too far out of that. I mean, could you imagine? Oh my God, I'm just thinking, if you could have gone back in time and went to that Congress and played them the video for WAP,
It was at the
Indeed.
Grammys. It was at the Grammys.
Wow.
I mean, I don't watch it, but it was at the Grammys. Times change, you know, and it's going to happen with us as well. Steve's absolutely right. And like, think about back when they were trying to ban Grand Theft Auto. Now it's like the top-selling video game in the world, and parents are buying it for their kids and playing it with their kids. It's shock and awe, and then you weed it all out, and then and then the next thing you know, you're running over hookers, taking the money back. Like.
I remember in high school, there was a tape being passed around all levels of high school. It was 2 Live Crew, and that language, that was in that. I mean, these days would just be a regular situation. But I remember everyone was like, "Oh my God, listen to what they're talking about," and it was like, well, yeah, it's pretty graphic, but.
And you would turn on the news, you know those shows that are news, but they're not the news. They're the more sensationalist shit, and they would have like 3 stories per hour episode, and one of them would often be 2 Live Crew, what's going on in Miami? What the fuck's up with this rap shit? The kids are well, look what they're talking about. And then they'd have like white kids in Ohio walking around with their pants hanging around their knees, saying, "Look what rap's doing to our kids. They're turning into gangbangers." I mean, it was just an insane reactionary time, and I think we're coming back to that a little bit, but we will get through. And that's the point. We will get through. I mean, like I said, I'm not kidding when I'm saying that there were kids that were sent. About the re-education camps, basically. If you had kids that were gay. If you had kids that listened to metal, if you had kids that were, God forbid, punk, which is the worst of all, gay punks, they'd send them off to these Christian re-education camps, which were basically boot camps with like authorized beatings for like 13 and 14-year-olds to get the shit kicked out of them, to try and beat them straight. We've gone away from that, thankfully. But can you imagine at that period of time, if they could look at the world we live in now, like the people who were running it, and they would have just given up. They would just gone like, we've lost. There's no way we can fight the future. The same thing is what we're doing now. There's no way they can fight the future. We are eventually going to get to some point where it's kind of understood. These meat sacks that we walk around in, they want to do certain things. They want to fuck. They want to drink. They want to get off their nut, and occasionally they want to have some nicotine. Let them do it.
Meat sacks. Yeah.
Meat sack.
I was trying to think of it. Yeah. There's, plenty of books as well, like in, early turn of the century and stuff, talking about things that were risque and all that situation, and now considered classics. It's only a matter of time before things, get seen in a different light.
And if it makes anyone feel better, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it takes a country like the UK to say, we are going to make a stand, and we are going to disassociate this thing from the general that the rest of the world is putting in. Good on them, absolutely good on them for standing up.
And if you want to say like the old days, like things weren't this crazy or nothing like that, you got to remember back in the 1920s, 2 women were arrested and fined for walking down the street wearing shorts because 2 guys got in a car accident looking at them. And that just goes to show you that the responsibility is never on the person itself, but to blame something else for someone not taking their own responsibility. So that's what we're going through with the parents right now thing. That's what we're going through with the people saying you got to regulate it for everyone else's good. So it's never changed. It's just gotten better slightly because of education through the years of watch out for your own, take care of yourself, and don't be a fucking idiot.
100%. Yeah. Look after your peeps, yo. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Perhaps we might do this a little bit earlier. This was something that kind of hit home a little bit earlier when I was on the Zoom call in the industry that I used to come from. Let's do it. Some motivational blah blahs. You can even. And this kind of quote, I guess, the wording is a little bit different, but I'd like to bring it up anyway. You can't do today's job with yesterday's methods and be in business tomorrow. You can swap out the word business there for whatever you like, but I think being able to change your ways and change the way that you speak about something, look at something, how you might handle a situation. Life is constant progression, and I love that word over innovation or anything else. Progressing, taking one step forward. Even if you take 4 steps back, it's okay. People make mistakes. You're human. That whole situation, and doing today's job with yesterday's method. Constantly. The other thing that I keep hearing, is people saying, "Well, this is the way I always do it," and I almost want to shake that person and say, "But you can learn something different." I'm an old dog with new tricks. Absolutely. I want to inspire that in people. You can change your ways, and that's really all I had to say about that. But I hope people are. Yeah, Dan J. Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow? Indeed. Yeah. It's just one of those things. I hope people are progressing in their own lives, their own language, their own relationships, their own journey. It's just one of those things. COVID has brought us a lot of things, a lot of negativity, but hopefully, you've been able to change something about yourself, or go back to look at something, to be at peace with something and move on. That's a really hard one to do, and that's just a basic human trait, right? So yeah, that's all I really had to say about that.
The easiest way to feel better about not being doing what you want to do and not being where you want to be is making the steps towards it. There's no excuse around it, and it's easy to get caught in modes or motions or times where you just don't want to do it, but you're going to thank yourself for it no matter how hard it is, because you're going to look back at something that you've actually done and you create palpable, and you're going to create better activities. You're going to create better habits by taking the time to do those things, because you're looking to be more productive and active in something, whether it's just something as small as cleaning up after yourself, like at the house, or just doing a little bit extra work on a project, or finding a hobby that you like and actually putting the time into it. And because you're always going to wake up in the same fucking mood, feeling terrible when you don't do anything, and you're going to be like, man, I hate feeling terrible all the time, but the power's in your hands to change that.
100%.
Well, view life with the concept that if you're not growing, changing, absorbing new stuff, you may as well be dead. If you're just doing the same thing day in and day out without any change, without any attention to what you're doing, you may as well not even be here. So yeah, definitely, as you're going through things, you should be looking at ways to change, to improve, whether it's your business or your personal life. I mean, a little bit of introspection. I have so many friends that, and I'm the asshole. I'm always the asshole in this situation, but who go through the same situation over and over. It's like, my boyfriend's an asshole. 2 years later, new boyfriend, my boyfriend's an asshole, he cheats on me. 2 years later, yeah, my boyfriend's cheating on me. He said, well, yeah, your boyfriend shouldn't be cheating on you. But if every single boyfriend is cheating on you, there's a recurring pattern here. It's who you're choosing, or it's what you're doing to them, or it's the kind of relationship that you foster, or there's something in you that you need to look at. I'm not saying blame. You don't blame yourself for other people's actions, but I see this all the time, this doing the same thing over and over and expecting the rest of the world to change. You've got to start looking at the commonality, and more often than not, it's yourself and the way you're doing things. I've done it myself. I think we all have gone through that same situation and complained about it, and before they get that, wait a minute, I'm the asshole.
That's right.
That's the takeaway from it. I'm the asshole.
It might not be your fault you got knocked down, but it's your fault you stay down.
I've always said, in similar notes, you can't control whether a bus jumps the curb and hits you, but you can control how you react to that. And I know that's an odd esoteric sort of thing to say, but yeah, I mean, life does throw shit at you all the time. You can't control what happens external to you, but you can control the way that you react, both physically and emotionally. Do you let it crush you? Do you go and hide, or do you get up and fight twice as strong, or do you change direction in the way you're going? Do you not go on that curb anymore? I mean, all sorts of things in life. You just generally can say, I've learned something from that, or is it a positive learning or a negative learning?
Robert Riggins' sentence there in chat, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing repeatedly, expecting different results. Also, one that resonates with me, though I don't always follow, is nothing changes if nothing changes. That is so on the money. So on the money. Yeah, 100%
Well, I
agree.
can say this. I mean, you guys know the story about me damaging my hand, right? And I play guitar, and that's how I rehabilitated my hand. And I played guitar for a long time, most of my life. And about 5 years ago, I kind of lost it. I just was doing the same thing. My fingers would just play without thought, which sounds like a good thing, but it was uninspiring. I was not moved, and I just stopped. I just gave up playing, and I focused on the channel and all this stuff. And I haven't played at all, except for the odd strum here or there. All my guitars are in really bad condition. Strings need cleaned and changed and all that stuff. And this is kind of why over the last little while I've always had an interest in mandolin, and I actually made that decision that I want to get a mandolin and want to start playing, because it's a different format, it's a different structure, it's a different tuning method, it's a whole different layout, and it's small and light. So even if I don't ever become a musician again and actually do stuff, I just play for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for my hand. That damage, I actually am noticing it now. Having not played for a while, it's not as flexible as it could have been. So that rehab is worth it in itself. But the other hand is that everything we're talking about, doing something a little bit differently. I'm continuing to make music, but a whole different format. I'll be more inspired. I'm exploring again. I'm discovering again. Doing something similar but different in a different way. So I mean, sometimes in our life, that's all it takes. It's just step away from that thing that you think you're attached to and find something a little bit different and plug yourself in there. Maybe just for a while, maybe just for a little while, just to refine that excitement that you had.
Yeah. 100%. I've been rediscovering music lately. That's something I've been putting a lot of time and effort into, because I couldn't tell you contemporary artists right now, but music, it was a huge part of my life, and now I'm going back to some music, just devoting some time to actually remember why I enjoyed it so much and listening to other artists. It's something I haven't done in a long time. Like, I don't think I listened to music at all last year. It sounds ridiculous, but I didn't, and this year has been getting back to it, just learning stuff, hearing people in their art. It's inspiring, yourself in thousands of ways. So it's can relate.
And that's the big thing too. The experiences you had between the breaks of the things that you thought you were really into or that you loved or that you need, you have to take time away from them, because you're going to find inspiration in other things, and you're going to be able to apply whatever you learned on that time away into your art or your whatever you do. You put it into Adam would put it into his coils experience, or put it into the music, and he does stuff like that. Steve can hear a song that maybe one day after a little bit inspires him to go back and do the guitar thing. Or you find your experiences are your inspiration, and you find it in everything you do. And the best advice I could ever give anyone is to get out there and live life a little bit, get out of your comfort zone and do something different. And then when you come back to the things that you took a break away from, you're gonna have new and exciting, fresh thoughts that you're gonna be able to apply those to, whether you write or you take pictures or you do content, whatever it is. And that's the only way to grow, is by experiencing other things and not putting yourself in the pigeonhole to think that I was good at this once, or I liked this a lot once, and now I'm going to suffer through it until I'm really good at it. Not until I'm really good at it, until I like it again. That's not how it works. You can't suffer through pain to enjoy the pain. You become numb to it, and then you stop enjoying it, and then you don't want anything to do with it. Take those breaks.
Yeah. God, we're getting deep on the show.
The wisest thing I ever heard, and the guy, I won't even get into who the guy is and what he is, but a long time ago, I had a friend who was very, very generous with his chemical substances that come on squares of paper. And we were having a party, and there was a bunch of us there, and he comes up to us and he gives each one, you can have some, and you can have some. And he looks at this guy and he says, none for you. And the guy goes, why? He said, you got to have a mind before you can expand a mind. And he goes, and one for you, and one for you.
Indeed.
Like I said, and that stuck with me. I'm sitting there looking at that, and the guy's face fell. And I looked at the guy. He's like, you don't read, you don't watch shows, you don't watch movies, you don't talk interesting, you've got nothing to share. Yeah, he's absolutely right. There's nothing back there. How can you expand consciousness if you've got nothing to grow with? You need to feed it. So this ties into exactly what you're saying. You need to feed your mind, and if you get so caught up in the one thing that you do, and I'm guilty of it, we're all guilty of it. I watch vape, and video editing, and that's it. That's all I do. My mind is shrinking. My consciousness is shrinking. My inspirational things to pull upon is that pool is just dissolving, and I'm becoming a very boring person. But step outside of that. Look at the rest of the world. Whatever you find, whatever interests you. Exactly like you're saying, Chris. You bring in those things, and they inspire you. Actually, I read this thing the other day. I don't know if anyone even cares. Whatever you think of Nick Cave, doesn't matter. But he did this album recently, and I read the story. During COVID, he was feeling really down. He didn't feel like writing. He wasn't inspired. And he talks to this friend who lived in LA. Nick Cave's in England. And he says, they're on Zoom. He says, look, we're both feeling shitty. And we both don't want to work. You're a painter. I'm a musician. Here's the deal. I'm going to make something and give it to you. And then you paint whatever you want based on that. And they do this ping pong thing where they would do something every day to inspire the other person and then bring it back. And then this like whole new album, just him and a friend, another musician friend did the album, but it all sprung from this concept of looking at this guy's artwork, his painting, which, most musicians, a lot of musicians would be like, I got to listen to other people's music to see what's happening, or I got to think about my feels. He went out and looked at the painting and said, well, what does that sound like to me? There's these colors and this thing, but what's that sound like? What's that painting make me feel that I wasn't aware of? You gotta feed yourself. You gotta feed this thing here.
And that's exactly what you got to do, Steve. That story, that's the perfect thing. You go out of your comfort zone. You do the same thing over and over. You're not going to find inspiration. But so you can go to an art gallery and not that I get moved by paintings, but you can be like, this is stupid. Stand there for 10 minutes and stare at it. Stand there and then see what comes into your mind. It's something's going to come into your mind, and that's what that inspires inside of you. You just got to take the time to find it. Inspiration is not easy. If it were, man, we'd all be Instagram models. No.
Wait, you're not? Wait. My form of inspiration is a little bit left field. As part of homework task for my son in his first year of school is to read every night. And, I'm going to be open here. As a parent, I wasn't reading to Albert a lot. And it became, part of the homework situation. So it was almost in my brain. I had filed it under this is a chore. I have to do this as a chore, as opposed to I'm doing this to help my son discover things. And after I think about 3 or 4 days of it, he started to say to me, "Can't wait until book time tonight," and that was the click. And then as I started to see that the artwork and the simple words of the book that we were reading, were changing into whole other situations, and my whole manner reading it to him became completely different. Now I love it. I'd rather read kids' books and look at the artwork in kids' books than half of the stuff that you're seeing, online these days. They're incredible, and I can't believe I'm saying that out loud because it just shows my stupidity.
Oh no, but, man! I've gone through a similar experience, and I totally agree with you. There's some really, really shit kids books out there that they're churned out, but there are some absolute classics. And it's the weird thing that as an adult, if you were just sitting there and you picked one up, you might just flick through it. Yeah, I remember reading this when I was young. Hungry Caterpillar, Where the Wild Things Are, Dr. Seuss, whatever. You put it down. But when you've got another tiny little mind there, one that is attached to you, that you have responsibility for, and that you care for, and you're not just like, here, read this, but you're engaging in that process. There's a whole nother level that you get into, and all of a sudden you start seeing it through their eyes, your young eyes, and your adult eyes all at the same time, and you start to see the depth of it. And it's one of the most rewarding things to do, not just books, but anything like that with your child. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
We do lots of other things, focusing on motor skills and his communication and vocabulary, all of those things. But because I'm not a huge book reader anymore, I just didn't look at it that way. And to see his face light up when it's time for books and all that sort of situation, I'm like, wow, I'm so ashamed that I never did this. So it's a very exciting time, and he's actually inspiring me now. So that's really, really good. Yeah.
See,
Now, I
one
wanna
day
have-
Chris will be sitting there. Chris Vandal will be sitting there with his child saying, "Well, son, it's time to read. This is Playboy issue number 59, 1907. It's a very, very special issue. I pulled this
See,
one out
that's
of
why
the
I
cover.
can't have kids. I'll never have kids because I would read them the articles. They're interesting. No, no, man. I talk to my dogs. I read to my dogs. You guys, I'll say it right here. If I ever have a kid, because I don't think I ever will, I'll shove my computer up my butthole. But it's not going to happen. That's how confident I am. I love my computer a lot.
Yeah.
No, but like I can imagine like you just sitting there reading to them, and getting into it, and like just the connection that you're sharing and things like that, and the random thoughts are going to be in your head later. You'll be like, oh man, that one dragon would look cool in the sky or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's imagination food, and that's where I think a lot of people, when you get later on in life, you lose the lure of the imagination and daydreaming and thinking of creative things because you have tasks to do. You have to set yourself to a schedule. You have to, stuff you have to get done that you don't enjoy, but you have to do it. And that's where a lot of people lose that. And I get it. You can have a rough life or you can't be easily accessed by it, but take the time when you can to do something out of the comfort zone and something goofy that you'll consider goofy until you're into it, or something that that's out of there. And like, I could just imagine now. I'm gonna ask Adam. I'm put him on the spot here. When can we get an Adam story time on the channel?
I'm getting too into it. That's the thing. I'm putting voices on and everything, and lots of very concentrated pausing in the reading. No one wants to hear me read Dr. Seuss, no doubt. But it's the
Absolutely
artwork.
do.
No, it's the artwork. I think that's an underappreciated situation of children's books. Maybe that's just I'm going to say it. That's my underappreciated situation of the artwork that goes into these books. Right, a kid's book, even though the story is very important, there's always underlying messages and this, that, and the other. But I've forgotten the imagination side of the art that goes into these books. There was one that we read the other day. It was basically about a knight in shining armor. No specifics on what he was chasing or anything. It was just about this person going on a quest. This human was going on a quest, and I was into it like 400%. And Albert was kind of like looking at me like, "This is a cool story, Dad, but where are you? Come back." It was insane, like so good that I was like, maybe I should get this artwork and put it up on my walls. Like it was incredibly imaginative.
It's the next tattoo.
Yeah, like it was just really, really cool. So lesson learned.
So while we're at this, and since you brought it up, with three of us here, quick poll time. What is, in your memory, in your history, your all-time favorite that just resonates with you, historical kids book?
I can't remember the name of it, but I never really had the chance to read the Kitty Kid books, but it's the one where the kids were they made a movie about it when I was younger. I do remember it was my favorite. Obviously, unfortunately, I don't remember much of it, but I did have two favorite books. It was that one. It was The World the Wild Things Are, and they had like the artwork in there. That was always my favorite. And I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but it's because it was from like early 90s, 80s or whatever. To me, like that was such a good art time for like drawn art. Huh?
Yeah, Where the Wild Things Are is my answer, and I think it's like early mid 60s.
Yeah, there you go. That really old stuff right there, man. I love that. I love the artwork, and it was so different. It was it's very creative. And some people it's standoffish because it's not pretty, and like not everything's pretty, but it can tell you a good story. You know what I mean? And I thought that was one of the best. But I would say as a kid, my favorite book was The Hatchet, where the kid got lost out in the fucking wilderness and he had to survive by himself because of a plane crash or whatever. And then he survived in a cave and he was like creating fire. But that's not really a kiddie book. That's just more of that was like a teen book, I guess.
I think mine.
I do have a story to share with you, but I'm going to wait till Adam gives his answer first.
I don't even care if it sounds ridiculous, but Mr. Men books played a very big part in the earliest memories, I guess, of education and stuff, or maybe even before school. Mr. Men, because of the artwork, that was what drew me in most definitely over the storylines. But Beatrix Potter, and the Peter Rabbits, like all of that situation. The artwork in that was incredible, just from another time and place, and took me there very easily. I just I didn't read them so much as wanting to look at the artwork. That's my easy answers. Yeah.
Squonkus is throwing out some absolutely brilliant answers, but I will say I think they're the next level. We're talking about learning to read books, and he's talking about like you can read pretty good by then. Don Quixote is not a kid's book, and I don't think Tom Sawyer really is either. Although its characters are that age. I mean, that's like saying The Stand. Stand's not really a kid's book, but all this talk of kids' book has reminded me of this thing that, and maybe someone out there knows. I've had success before by throwing out these weird fragmented memories that I have, and someone's gone, "It's that show." I remember. Okay, so I can pinpoint the time frame. I was 4 or 5 because I know where I lived and I remember my room and all that stuff. And I think it was a TV show. It might have been a book, but I think it was a TV show. And it was this really weird story about a kid who was given money to go to the store to buy liver for dinner. He had to go up to the butcher's to buy liver for dinner and come back. But the kid wanted to keep the money. So went to the morgue, and Grandpa had just died, and took Grandpa's liver.
What?
And brought home, and they all ate Grandpa's liver for dinner. Wait a minute. And then he was haunted every night by his grandfather saying, "Give me back my liver." This story, like, I'm 5. This has been with me my entire life. This, like, what the fuck was that? Because where did that come from? Is this a show I saw? Is this a book I read at 5? Is this, did I actually dream this myself? Did I watch half a show and then make up the ending? Like, he'd have to go to the store and I fell asleep, so I made up he ate his grandpa's liver. I don't know. So if anyone out there knows what that story is, where it comes from, let me know. Absolutely. Otherwise, I probably need maybe some mental health.
Some help. Yeah.
I think we all have like a memory from like something of like a TV show or a book or something of something that's really weird and no one else remembers it.
Yeah. Because the time and place, something that like is embedded into your brain. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, hopefully Steve doesn't have those nightmares tonight.
Or his wife is like, "We're having liver for dinner, and it's someone you know."
Not a fan of liver.
Not a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, never was a fan.
Well, gentlemen, we've covered many topics in the show today. We're coming to that time. Do you have any news you'd like to share with the viewers? What's coming up this week? Anyone?
No.
No? Awesome.
No
No
news.
Fallout. Yeah. No Fallout this week. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm getting a new shelf sometime this week. So most of this week we'll be putting the shelf together and cleaning the floor. All the things on the floor will actually go on the shelf because it's a mess down there.
Well, if it's anything like your vape bucket.
Should be called
Filling
vape.
up again.
Vape, fuck it. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not. That's how you explain it. The bucket is for fuck it. Yes. I have a little news. Coils are currently en route to Straight Up Supply Co. There's the last part of the collaboration is going on for the US people before it all happens. So very excited about that. Also some new coils coming out for the Australian vendors here. Very excited about that. That's en route as well for this week. Self-serving news, I know, but I'm kind of a little bit excited about it. But that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, no Friday Fallout. I wasn't supposed to be here today, but I got here in time. If you want to see a funny show, we did pretty good Friday Fallout this last Friday. And shout out to Kentucky Shine. We gave away a Nintendo 3DS, and he won it. So
Nice.
other than that, we got some pretty cool games.
PlayStation 5 on the next one?
What did you say? A PlayStation 5? Yeah, right.
Anyway,
If I could even get it, I'm not a PlayStation fan, but if I could get one, I would because no one else can. Just to hold it over people's heads, and then I'd sign all my PlayStation fan friends and I'd break it because I'm like I'm really lame with game. I'm like 7. Anyways, yeah. So go check out the last episode. It's pretty good, and we had a new game on there. Well, it's not new, but it's starting to flow better. But yeah, other than that, I will be back on next Monday show and next Friday.
Nice. Well, this is probably our time. I want to send a big thank you again to everyone who's hanging out. We love that you're hanging out, and all the loves to you. Stay strong.
Wait a second,
Robert. Yeah.
no, we can't go. We can't go yet.
Johnny, I want my
Yeah,
liver
my
back.
Hold on.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not crazy. Oh my god.
So that's true. It is a real story.
It is real. Oh. I thought I was insane for 50 years. No, it's actually real.
There you go. So that's your homework is to...
Don't know how I came across it.
Yep. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice work, Robert. Very good.
Thank you so much, Robert. Filling it in. Yeah. Trying to find a story by like typing in vague elements of the plot line. Not always successful, but yeah. Thank you. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled ending of the show.
No, that's it. We will see you next week. We will see you on the cyberwebs. Yeah. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much, everyone. Always appreciative. Yeah. Hope everyone's
It's free real estate.
That's right. Yeah. We'll see you next week, and big love to all